Hello, everybody. Happy Friday. Yay, we made it. It's Friday. If you don't mind, I would love it if you would tell me when you're coming on and joining me. I'm going to try and get this pulled up on my phone. It just helps me because I can't always see the comments, and I want to be able to see if you've asked questions or if you're telling me things. So welcome to Friday Painting. We're just going to paint our way into the weekend. So as you join in, please let me know in the comments, and just sometimes I can see your name and sometimes I can't. So even in the comment, if you want to say, hey, it's Carol or whatever, then I can speak to you. I want to be able to speak to you. Okay, so let me see if I can get it going. And if you'll give me a thumbs up if you hear me okay, because that's my other fear, is that I'll be doing this and then you won't even hear me. So I'm almost there. Okay. All right. Tell me how your week has been. We've had a busy week. Hey, Leanne. I see Leanne is here. It's been a very busy week. We've been in the pumpkin patch all week, and it's been wonderful. So much fun. I always enjoy doing these workshops. Hey, MK, I see you hopping in there with me. I love it because it gives me an opportunity to meet new ladies, but also reconnect with some of our faithful members who follow along. So I think I've got it so I can see comments. Crazy busy. Does it feel like the weeks are just getting busier and busier? To me, it feels that way. And it's not even close to Christmas yet. I see Linda. Is that LaJean? Is that how you say your name? That's very pretty. LaJean from Oregon. I would love to go to Oregon. We went to Washington State. We took our grandson. When was it? Right before the shutdown. It was 2019. Beautiful over there. I would love to go back in that area. Have y'all had lunch yet? Just wondering what you're having for lunch. I haven't had lunch yet. I've got some leftover chicken salad chick, so that's probably what I'm going to eat. Do y'all have a chicken salad chick where you live? I don't know if that's just a Southern thing or I don't know. So I should have this streaming into our pumpkin patch group, but I wanted to take just a minute before we start painting and give you an update from the pumpkin patch. Okay, that is how you say it, LaJean. I love that. Were you named after your dad or a family member? I've not seen that name. It's pretty. MK has chicken salad chick. My favorite is Fancy Nancy. I also like to get the pimento cheese, not the spicy pimento cheese, just the regular. And there's Cranberry Kelly. I like that one. Those are my favorites. Do y'all have a favorite chicken salad? It's a really quick little lunch. I wouldn't want to eat it every day, but it is good for when you need something quick. That's also something we get whenever we have when they're celebrating birthdays here with the team. I usually get everybody chicken salad chick, Gigi's cupcakes. Those are our specialties. Hey, Leslie, do you have chicken salad chick where you are? We also like this cupcake that Kroger has. I'm trying to think of the name. I think it's called Kimberly's cupcakes. To me, they're actually better than Gigi's. Gigi's cupcakes have the icing is as tall as the cupcake. It's a lot of icing. But the Kimberly's brand, it's more of a more realistic amount to eat. And then they have a little bit of cream on the inside. It's really good. Named after Uncle Gene. I really love that, LaJean. Okay, well, I'm glad you're here. So let me give you an update from the pumpkin patch before we start painting, because I have a couple of things I want to show you as far as painting. I've got my watercolors out and some other supplies. So this week we've been doing the workshop pumpkin patch, and we've been painting pumpkins, not just one pumpkin, a bunch of pumpkins, and using different colors, and just trying to see how can we create pumpkins from some of our favorite colors. We did purple pumpkin one night. Let me grab it, because I wonder if y'all have ever seen a purple pumpkin. We took out special requests of what would you like to see. So one of the nights was purple, and we had some really pretty pumpkins. So this was one of the nights. We had a Zoom each night, and we painted together. So we started this one out as a dark purple and then built up the layers to get those nice translucent layers. And one thing that I learned or was reminded of is that mixed media paper is not very thick. See how, let me see if I can hold it at the right angle. It warps. And whenever I'm painting, I usually use a lot of layers. So my paper warped. I really wished I had used watercolor paper, but live and learn. And then we had a special request for more white pumpkins or gray. So this one started out as gray, and then we built it up and then added some texture. Can you see that texture? Uh-oh, what is that? Let's right in this area. There's a lot of texture in there, and that was fun. And we used our little secret recipe, and that's why it's glossy there, but it's got such a pretty sheen, doesn't it? And then this is experimenting with, it's called gel gloss. I think that's what it's called. I'll look at the jar. But it's a fun way to get texture. And the neat thing about that particular medium is you can actually add pigment to it. So this yellow is actually some yellow ink, acrylic ink that I added to the paste, stirred it up, and then patted it on there, and I got a really interesting texture. Can you tell this is why I love mixed media so much? I love all the supplies. And it didn't dilute the color at all, and I only used a tiny tad of color in that, so that's fun. Let's see, I've got a few more people come in, and Heather, I'm glad y'all are here too. Glad to see y'all. Well, I'm not seeing you, but I'm seeing your name pop up. So that's a couple of the things that we did this week. So tonight is the cutoff for filling out the checklist. We've got 3 giveaways that we're doing, and I started pulling some more stuff today to put in the goodie bag. Everybody's 3 winners. I'm putting in one of the journals and a Tombow marker, one of the shareables. This is one of the littles. It's a 4x4, and you can actually frame that. This is one of our signs. It's metal, and we played around with this last year. We put hangers on the back. You can attach these to a wreath to have like a wreath sign, and or you could hang it on the wall. Hey, Tammy, it's good to see you. Then I'm going to add a shirt for each of the winners. So once we know who the winners are, they'll need to give us our shirt size and a few more supplies. I got stopped and realized the time and thought, girl, you better get up there and get your equipment set up. So for those of you in the workshop, get your checklist turned in. Each one of those checks counts as an entry. And remember to you can take a picture of your checklist and then take that picture and put it in the comments of the post that says, put your checklist here. and I'll start working on that later this afternoon. Oh, I had these out to show y'all too. A couple of weeks ago, I bought some grocery store flowers, and look at these. These are still alive. They don't even look real, do they? So I love flowers. So I'm hoping to get some painting done this weekend for our 2024 calendar. And I'm thinking, I think y'all want to be in the calendar, don't you? You're just staying right there with me. But they're gorgeous, aren't they? I don't know what they're called, but they've been alive for 2 weeks. It just fascinates me. So I put them right there so I could see it. Now, so let me look at my checklist because there was a few things I wanted to. All right, so I told you about the prizes. The other thing to tell you, pumpkin patch related, is we've opened up the doors to invite new members into our mixed media club. And we have an early bird offer. And that's actually what we're going to work on a little bit today, painting. But I'm doing a scarecrow paint party for the people who join by tonight. By tonight, you'll be able to get into the little scarecrow paint party. And this little fella, this is the watercolor version. I've got some more work to do to him. Coordinates with this lady. So this is our October project for the Mixed Media Club. This is an 18-inch wooden sign. It's 10 inches wide. You could use it to hang it on the wall. You could do it on your door. I'm going to make an extra one of these and do it for my mama for her door she's in an assisted living apartment. I'm going to surprise her with one of these. And I'm trying to do it kind of like a self-portrait. So these are colors that I would wear. So this is kind of like my self-portrait if I were a scarecrow. So I'm going to see if I can do one that kind of looks like my mama and surprise her. I don't want to tell her I'm doing it so that when she goes to lunch or something comes back to her apartment, her little scarecrow girl is hanging on the door. Don't you think that'd be fun? So we're selling these tags. I ordered some extras from the man that cuts the wood for me. And I've got some extras on the website. So if you're in the club and you're doing this with me and you want to tag, we're going to include the big printout traceable for you. So you don't have to worry about printing it out. If you want a big one, we're going to include that with your tag. And we'll start shipping those on Monday. I got to get some more of those printed out. But so that's a little announcement about the pumpkin patch. And I'm giving you an invitation to join us. It's going to be so much fun for these upcoming painting projects. So we're doing the Scarecrow Girl for October. Almost said March. October. This is October almost. And I've got for November, I've got a big round that we're going to paint on and do some poinsettias with a little nativity in it. And you could use that as a door hanger, or I might hang mine on the wall. I haven't decided yet. Or I might sneak in and put it on my mama's door. Who knows? And then for December, it's a big mitten. I don't usually do door hangers or big stuff, but I saw these. I bought this stuff in July because I was already thinking ahead. So the mitten, this is you can barely see it. I did all these sketches in July, but this is the small mitten, and then she'll go on the big mitten. So there's a big mitten and a small mitten. And we're going to do the snow lady as a self-portrait too, and decorate her, dress her kind of like we would dress. So some of you would be wearing, what do you call that stuff? It's got the animal print. You know, your little shawl might be animal print or bright pink or fuchsia or whatever that makes sense for you. Make her look like you. So it's going to be fun. We're going to stretch our imagination. We're going to have a good time with it. And I want you to join. I want you to join in. I don't want you to miss out. And guess what? The good thing about this is you could use some of this as gifts. So if you're already thinking about Christmas gifts, you could work with me. I'll work with you and help you paint some original and unique things to give as gifts this year. If you need to pinch some pennies, this is one way to do that. And a lot of these designs could be sized down. You could do ornaments. I think that mitten is an ornament. I got to look back at my list because like I said, I planned it in July. And so I've got to remember what my plan was for that. But many years, I have given things I've hand painted as gifts. So I just want to encourage you to consider that, because all of you are creative. You really are. Some of you use your creativity more than others, and so that muscle might be a little bit stronger, but it's simply because you've used it more. Or if it feels weak, it's because you haven't used it as much as some of the others have. And then some of you haven't used it at all, really. You don't even realize you have a creative muscle. So that's one of the benefits of us painting together, because we meet once a month. We have a Zoom call where you can bring what you're painting and get one-on-one help from me. You can hold up what you're working on and I can help you with it. We'll paint together. The ladies in this group are top notch. They are so kind and considerate to each other. And that's one of the things that I've heard multiple times of, this is the nicest group. I'm not used to being around such nice ladies. So if you need more of that in your life, to be around some positive ladies, this is a good place to hang out. And I think of it as a family. We're a creative family. So this is my invitation to you to join our creative family and come paint with us. I think you would enjoy it. I see Linda's here and Tammy Rogers. Thank y'all for being here. So if you have questions at all about the Mixed Media Painting Club, please put them in the comments, and I would be more than happy to help find the answer for you if I don't know the answer. And I honestly cannot remember if I even put a link in there. If I did not, I need to do that, don't I? Okay, so let's see about painting. Let me see if I can show you. Let me do this really quick. Let me put the website address. And if you go to the website, it's going to be right smack dab on the front page. It's called Mixed Media Painting of the Month Club. Okay, let's see. I think I just added it. Okay, so let me see if I can swap around, because I want you to see my tabletop and see what I'm working on. And if you've got your supplies and you want to paint with me, awesome. Okay. All right. So let me move my Scarecrow girl. I've got some watercolor paint. So I don't know if you know this or not, but mixed media is actually, what that means is it's more than one medium. You're using more than one medium in your work. So for example, a medium would be like watercolor paint, acrylic paint. I'm trying not to turn this thing over. That would be a disaster. Acrylic paint, it could be like these Neocolor crayons. It could be these pencils. These are Derwent Graph Tint pencils. It's a water-soluble pencil. I've got gelatos. Doesn't mean we have to use all of those in here, but mixed media is using more than one medium, which makes it a lot of fun, especially if you like art supplies, and especially if you like learning. I don't know all there is about art supplies. I actually probably am very limited compared to some people, but I know what I know. And so I like sharing about it. So that's why I like mixed media so much. So I love watercolor. This was painted in watercolor, and I've got some more work to do to him, but I have a hard time sticking with just one thing. So whenever I'm doing a watercolor painting, guess what? I always add a little bit of extra stuff to it because I just have a hard time sticking to one. Let me fix this camera real quick, like, because I want you to be able to see. So let me show you what I'm using. This I purchased at Hobby Lobby. I think that its original purpose is supposed to be a sign of some sort, but I saw it and thought that would be a really good paint palette. Isn't that pretty? And my thoughts are, once I fill this thing up, I probably could hang it on the wall. Let me show you one of my other ones. Let me see if I can get this down without turning everything over. Okay, so this is one that I've used for forever. This is a big clipboard. I decided to use it as my paint palette. Isn't that pretty? It's just a big art clipboard, and it's one of those slick surfaces. That's the back side. I don't really remember where I got it from. Probably at Michael's or somewhere like that. But even this would be pretty to hang up on a wall. So, and I just travel. Whenever we travel, I'll bring some of my supplies, and I quit bringing this. I went to something smaller. So you just need a palette of some sort. And it's better if it's white because that's going to give you an idea of what the color is going to look like when you, especially with watercolor, when you're working with paint that's coming out of a thing like this and it's dry, you have no idea what that color is going to look like once it gets wet and on the paper. So I always do a color swatch, and I keep it with my palette so that I have an idea of what that color is going to look like. But having a white palette to mix on is even better. I mean, not even better. It's a good companion to your paint swatch. So I always look for something that's white. It also needs to be kind of slick. So let me show you something else that I've used for a paint palette. Let me reach over and get it. So this even works. This is some of my Mima's china, little saucers. So she had several sets of china, and I was able to get a set, and I've had this. She passed away in, I think, 2007. It was just sitting there. So guess what I did? I decided I'm using this china, and I decided to use this as a paint palette. And I'm using it now, and I think my Mima would be very pleased that that's how I'm using it. Hey, Jan, I'm glad to see you here. And it just is really special whenever I'm painting because she was very creative. It's very special. So I have a stack of these. I have one for my greens here. So that's an idea for you. If you've got some china sitting around that you're not using, put it to use. Use it as a paint palette. I don't think you could do that with acrylic. Yes, she would be smiling, Leslie. She would. She would love it. I think acrylic might peel back up. You could peel it back up. I'm not positive about that, but I know the watercolor works great on it. So just throwing that out there. If you've got china sitting around, that's one way you could use it. Okay, so I'm going to use this one for the little scarecrow boy. I'm calling him a boy. The big one is a girl because she's me. The big one is me. So the first thing that you're going to need to do with watercolor is wet your pans. Okay, so let's do that. Let me show you what kind of watercolor I'm using too. I like this brand. This is Prima. It's actually Art Philosophy, but it's put out by Prima Marketing. So they have really cute names for it. This is the complexion set. And this is what it looks like. I love these colors. not so much painting faces with them, but I use these colors in a lot of different things. And this peach cobbler, to me, it's really hard to achieve that peachy color. So I'm all the time buying watercolor that looks peachy like that. This set here is a really good one for fall. And this is probably my favorite brown. It's called Earth. And I love this gray. It's called Ponder. This is similar to Davy's gray, and this is similar to a raw umber. Also love that. This set is called Essence. And then I've got another one over here. This is the first set I ever bought from this company, and simply because of the name, it's called Decadent Pies. So each color is named after a pie, believe it or not. Yes, the papers do come in here with it, and it's perfect because you can set it up like this and quickly be able to tell, and it goes in the rows. So this row right here is these first three. This row here is those, and likewise. One of, like, this one's called pumpkin pie. I like that color. This is called apple, peach cobbler, pecan. I really love this color. Banana cream, guava. This key lime, I love that green. Isn't that beautiful? This is blackberry and blueberry. So I've used this one a lot. And these are really good for traveling because you could mix it on here, but to me, that's not enough room. So I usually use my big palette. So whenever there's one more that I'm putting together a holiday kit that would be for lettering and painting, and it's going to include a set of one of these. It's not this set. I don't have the actual set to show you, but I've got a kit coming for watercolor for the holidays, and I'll be going into more detail on how to do that in that little project. Hey, Pam Harris, it's good to see you popping in here with us. Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to do is wake these up. So it's dry right now. So you want it to be damp. So let's see, where is it? Right here. Water spray bottle. Just wet it really good and put them aside. You don't have to have all of these sets. You could mix. I just don't like mixing. I'm just being honest. I just like knowing that whenever I go to this gray, that's the color I'm going to get. I will, from time to time, mix. I'm not saying I don't do it. I just don't like doing it because I'm so production minded, I guess. I'm trying to paint fast. I don't know. But you don't have to have this many paint sets. I guess what I'm trying to say. I just like them. So that's why I've got them. All right. So I'm getting them wet, getting them good and wet. Let me know. I love the nativity on the hem page. When will you do that? It's coming. Now there is one in the monthly group. Yes, I'm trying to remember what it's called. I don't remember what it's called. If there's any of the monthly ladies in here, they could tell you what it's called. But I do have one in that group. But I'm going to do a new one with a poinsettia for the November class. Is that what you're talking about, Linda? I'm trying to do two things at once, so sometimes my brain like goes. Okay, let me show you what else I'm using. This is a piece of pottery, beautiful, that it's for cream cheese, a block of cream cheese, and you're supposed to put pepper jelly over it. I had it for like 3 years and never used it. I decided this would be an excellent paint palette. So guess what it is now? And it works perfect. These little ridges right there are great for resting my paintbrush on it. Yep. So that's supposed to be cream cheese, and now it's for paint. This is also I didn't know we were going to be talking about this stuff today. This is supposed to be the companion to this. You put a sleeve of Ritz crackers here. Well, I had not used the other, so now I'm using this for that as well. And it also holds the paintbrush. Isn't that cool? So look around at what you're not using, and you might be able to incorporate it into your art practice in being creative. That's using your creativity. Okay? I believe you showed it a few days ago on hymns. Just beautiful. Okay. I'm going to look and see. Yes. Thank you for bringing that up. I will figure out what it was. Okay, so let me get some space here. Thank you, Leslie. My problem is I have more ideas than I have time or hands to make happen. Oh, goodness. All right, now let me speak just a moment about paintbrushes. So if you followed along with any of the other Friday paintings with watercolor, these are my new favorite brushes. And Christy, oh, I just had a memory loss. What is her last name? Joyful Painting. She's the one that came up with these brushes. Paints beautiful watercolor paintings. She has a business and they do hand painted watercolor invitations. So she developed her own line of watercolor paintbrushes. And they're my new favorites. I bought this set. So this is a dagger. This is a round. That's what it's called. This one is a filbert, which if you know me very well, filberts are my favorites. And this is my new favorite. This is called cat tongue. It's very similar to a filbert, but look at that point. Very pointy. Makes beautiful leaves, beautiful vines. Filberts make beautiful flower petals. They're just easy to paint with. This round brush, the way she designed it, is beautiful vines. There's a lot you can do with it. And this dagger is perfect for, like, this is what I used for this pumpkin. It just, look at that. It does the work for you. And that's what you want your brush to do. You want the brush to do the work. You just kind of drive the steering wheel. It's beautiful. So these are the brushes that I'm going to use for this. And what else? There's one more. No, there's not. I'm just double checking that I didn't leave anybody out. I didn't. Okay, so there's the brushes. I'm going to need a paper towel. I've got that. I think I have everything now. Clean water. One more thing. Christy Rice. Thank you, Jennifer. Christy Rice. I almost said rice, and then I thought that doesn't sound right. This is, I can't turn it sideways. It's a punch cup. Punch cup. They were getting rid of them. I took them, and I'm giving them new life. Isn't that pretty? I'm using these for my water. So y'all are going to be hitting up the estate sales and yard sales now, aren't you? Or you might have some of this in your cabinets in your kitchen. But it makes my desktop pretty too, with all this pottery and punch cups. All right, here's my napkin. Christy also has a YouTube channel. All right, I think we're ready, ladies. All right, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to do part of this because I've already done part of it. I'm going to do just a little bit together in our time because I've talked most of the time that we've been together. Yeah, I think you would like it, Leslie. Leslie said you might help me like to try watercolor painting again. I gave it up years ago. When you see that what else you can add to it, I think you would like it. And I don't know if you remember this or not, but in our pumpkin patch, I think there was at least a couple of ladies that painted their pumpkins with watercolor or gouache because they did not have acrylic paints. So all of my designs that I've got put together could be painted either one of those. Could be painted either one of those. Or you could paint it in watercolor and then add some accents of other things, which is what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to pull this. Nope, I'm not going to pull that down because it's going to fall. So if you can't see, just let me know, okay? Just let me know if you can't see. So I'm going to wet, I think I'm going to wet this dagger. That's fun to say, dagger. Okay. All I want to do is this is going to be my sample. I'm getting this ready for our paint party. And then I'm going to do the full tutorial with them. But I want my sample to look good. And I want to add a little bit more depth. So if you were in the pumpkin patch, you know that we just add layer after layer after layer and that's what gives our artwork. It makes it unique and it gives it so much depth. So, and you have to be patient with layers. So that can help you learn, it can help strengthen your patience muscle. If you have trouble with your patient muscle, that's what I do. I'm ready for things to be done right then. When is the paint party? I have not set the date yet. I need to decide that though. Yeah, I got to set the date and let everybody know. That's a very good question. All right, so I'm using some guava from the Decadent Pie. And that's basically what I used on this pumpkin. So I'm just going to add a little bit more depth with my layers. So I'm going to let my brush do the work. I feel like it needs to come down some. Can y'all see okay? I'm looking at it from on my computer screen, and to me it looks like it's hard to see. So I'm going to do it so that the point is in the little, we call this the ditch. And look what that did. Just that one simple little layer. And then I'm going to turn my paper because I want my brush to do the work. Got the point in the ditch again. And I'm just following it around just to deepen that a little bit. That's all I'm doing. Now, while it's turned upside down, now I'm going to take my point. Yeah, MK. Yes, we are sisters. It's hard to slow down. It really is. I'm not pulling it all the way up this time. I'm just touching it a little bit right there. And then I'm putting my point to the outside and I'm just touching it a little bit right there. That's all I'm doing. So just that little bit, did you see what that happened? It gave it more depth and it brought this further up because that looks darker, looks further away. It's hard to be patient and wait. I think it really is. I mean, I think I think we could probably all say that with things in life, especially. So that's one additional way that our creativity is actually a tool. There's so many life lessons in our creativity, isn't there? I think most of us struggle to wait, especially if it's something that you really want. Whether it's, I really want to finish this painting, or I really want this to work out. Yeah. All right, so that's all I'm going to do to that. Now, with that color, I didn't have to rinse that. I could have just left it on my brush. I'm looking for my other color that I liked. All right, this color right here, what is that called? Chant. I like that color right there. Have no idea why they called it that, but I may not want to know. Okay, so I'm just going to get a little bit of that on my brush. And I want to work it in over here. I don't want a lot of it. So I'm trying to water it down so that it's a super thin layer. I'm getting it really watery. And I'm just getting a little bit on my brush. And I think I'm going to blot that a little bit because it feels like there's a lot in my brush. and I don't want to get too much. So I'm getting the water, the excess water off of the base up there. And now I want to add just a really thin layer of that up here to the top. It's not really even going to show that much. It's just going to help add one more thin layer to that little pumpkin. And what I'm doing is doing it kind of at an angle like that, like a little crosshair. Now, that same color, I'm going to also tie it in up here. I like for my designs to all coordinate, all the different pieces. So, and I'm using the sharp point of that, and it's basically like I'm drawing some straw on this little fella. Okay, hope y'all could see that. Now what I want to do, and help me watch the time. Okay, I want to deepen up this part just a little bitty bit more, not a whole lot. So I like this redwood. And let's see, that's going to be this color. So I'm getting a little bit of water on my brush to put, and then I'm pretty sure that's this. Yeah, it is. It's that color right there. So I could have just used that, but I wasn't sure. These colors, the pigment is very vivid. So you don't, this paint could go a very long way. You just keep adding water to it and it gets it thin for you. So see, I'm just going to use this thin part right in here, kind of like with our acrylics and how we use the gloss medium to thin our layers. We just use water. As far as I know, that's the only way to do it with watercolor. Okay, so I'm just going to darken that there and add a little bit more dark here. And then a tiny tad down in here. Not much, just a tiny tad. And another thing with watercolor, I don't know if you can see it, it's puddling up there. I'm letting it decide where it wants to go. I can kind of guide it. It moves with water. So if I let it go, if I get this part wet right there, it's going to travel. And I'm just going to let it do that. I'm going to let it do what it wants to do. Now, if it starts going crazy, then I'm going to get a napkin after it. But you have to remember that it travels with wet. So if you don't want it to travel, don't let it touch anything wet, anything else wet. Yeah. So like if this part up here was wet, then these two are going to merge together. And if that's what you want, that's good. But if that's not what you want to happen, then you're going to have to be careful. Okay. So let me put a little bit right here, a little bit right here. Now, what I'm going to do with that color still on my brush, I want to put a little touch of it right up here in his little hat. And that, to me, helps tie the top of the piece with the bottom. Just want a cohesive piece. And look at that. See, I was very careful. That's a big puddle right there. And I really want it to just stay like that and let it absorb into the paper. But I've got to really watch it because see how it's moving? And it hasn't moved outside the lines because that's dry. But if I was not careful with it and was sloshing it all over the place, it would splatter outside of the lines. And I would have to try and clean it up. So all right, so now, excuse me, I feel like I've got orange up here. I've got it down in here. I've added some yellow, but I think I want to add just a little bit more yellow in here to tie in the yellow. So, for example, if I've got a lot of orange down here, I'm only going to put a smidgen of orange at the top. That way, they coordinate, they look like they're in the same family, from the same family, but they're not identical twins. They don't compete with each other. All right, now, so this is that yellow that I was using. So I'm going to blot my brush And I'm going to pick up some of that. And I'm just going to put a light wash of that yellow right across here. And right there. You know, if you don't know this, I'll say it. If you want something white with watercolor, you really almost have to decide that pretty early on, because if you, let me see how to say it. So with acrylic, you can add white. You can add a white layer. With watercolor, you have to do the opposite. So I know I really like those white highlights, so I'm trying to protect those. The paper is my white. Okay, so let me see if we got questions. I see Gina and Mickey. Glad y'all are joining us. If you have questions, let me know. I'll try and watch. All right, so my next thing that I want to do is I want to darken up the straw a little bit. So I think I'm going to use this color that they're calling pumpkin. This is what they call pumpkin. Did I already use that color? I did. So I don't want to use that because I've already used it. It was not as dark as I thought. Here it is over here. This is called Cavern. And it's in the complexion palette. I already said that, but I'll say it again. I really like this palette. Could you or would you use acrylic to add highlights? You could. You sure could. Now, especially because it's mixed media. If like a fine artist who calls themselves a watercolor artist, they would not do that. They're like diehard watercolor and only watercolor. But we're mixed media artists, so we can do what we want to. We can use it all. Okay, see, this is a brighter yellow, and that's what I needed. I had that subtle yellow in the back. That's what I wanted. Now I need to add a little bit of brightness to him for the straw coming out. Okay. All right. And for those of you that have already joined the membership, I'll do the full tutorial with y'all. I'm trying to get my, this is my sample, trying to get him ready. And then we'll paint together from the beginning whenever we have our paint party. All right, so I got a little bit more of this brighter, and I'm just going to touch it right there and touch it right there and there. See, I'm just building up my layers. Okay, so I feel like now I need to decide on my shirt if I want to just leave the shirt like that, because I kind of like it like that. It looks old. It looks like an old flannel shirt, and that's kind of how I wanted it to look. So it's possible I'm just going to leave it that way. I already started doing some pencil work. Can you see that, where I went in and I deepened in certain places? I already started doing that to help define it a little bit more. This pencil, I think it's called Black Wing. It's like a graphite pencil. You could use that, or you could use like a number 2 pencil. I like using these watercolor pencil, the water soluble pencils. The Derwent pencils are very intense. They're really good for this kind of thing, but this is just a watercolor pencil. This is a new brand I've started using and started putting in the kits. It's called Supracolor, and I like it too. It's more like, it's a cross between the watercolor and the Derwent. So this is a good accent color. This is called, what is this called? Malachite green. Malachite green. It's kind of a teal. So what I'm going to do now, let me move my paint. I'm going to have to be careful as I do this because this down here is wet and I've got wet spots. I'm just going to go in and just start doing a little bit of outlining with this color because I want to show you what it'll do. Okay, I just did a little bit. All right, so I'm wetting my brush. I got a clean brush. You may already know this, but you're going to want to tape this down to keep it flat. You don't have to, but you'll wish that you had. Look how pretty that is once it's wet. Isn't that pretty? That is why I love these pencils. Isn't that pretty? Okay, so, and I might do like a little stripe coming up here to decorate his little shirt as part of the plaid. Now help me watch the time. I'm going to try and be mindful. All right, so look at that. Very light little stripe for his plaid. And that's with the malachite. Was it malachite green? Yep, malachite green. So because I put that there, I'm also going to put a few touches of this in my pumpkin. This color looks really good with orange. It's a good little pop color. So I think I want to put it down here at the bottom. Y'all see that? Put a little bit down here, kind of as the shadow, the base. And the good thing of this is I could leave it like that. I don't have to wet it. It looks good just like that as the pencil mark. And that's probably how I'm going to leave it. But I just wanted you to see that you could either leave it dry or you could wet it and have it almost like one of your paint layers. But it just helps add depth. And this is considered mixed media because we're going to be doing all kinds of little layers on this little boy. If you had grandchildren, it'd be fun. You could do one for each grandchild. That would be fun, wouldn't it? I'm just showing you what it would look like if you wet it. I only have one grandson, but I think it would be fun. I can remember being, I don't know why this popped in my mind, but being a little girl, my grandparents had a farm in South Alabama, and they had a cat that had kittens and had 5 kittens. So there was 5 of us cousins. We named the cats after ourselves. So I guess I've been doing that all my life of naming things after somebody. So this might be the Micah pumpkin, Micah scarecrow. Okay, so that gives you an idea on the pencils, the water-soluble pencils. And once this completely dries, then we could come back with either, what is this one? Prisma, a pen, like a detailed pen, like the microns. I love using the microns. We can come back and add details to his face and outline some areas. Okay, look at this. All right, so you remember me putting a big puddle of that paint up there. And I said I just wanted to let it stay. It is almost dry. It's still moving just a little bitty bit, but look at what it did. That's so pretty to me whenever it does that on its own. It gets to a point, puddles up, and it leaves that little mark. I love that. So here's an example of what I would do. I got to be careful. I'm going to make a mess. See, I could use this for the eyes and to do detail. Well, if this were not dried out, I could. This one's dried out, so it's not going to work. I need to throw that away. Where's my trash can? I'll just throw it over there. Okay, so this one's not. It's whenever we add the fine little details that it really starts coming alive. And with those details, it's the little things that's going to pack the punch. And that's what we got to remember, or we'll go overboard with it and then it's messy or it looks like it's too much. But I need to wait till that dries some or I'm going to make a mess. But I'm going to show you up close. See, just a few little details is all I did, and I'll come back with some little white and other things to help with that. I think I'm freezing up. Is it freezing up on y'all's end? Okay. Let me show you one other thing. I think I have time to show you this before we go. These Neo colors. I love these things. I love them a lot. And they come in a variety of colors. Like I've got this. This is one of my favorites. Ochre. And we put these in our kits too. Salmon. This one is jade. But any of these, this purple. So this purple and those two could be good colors to just have pops of color. This pink is good for cheeks. You could do pops of color with it as well. Like you could draw a little bit around your pumpkin. That's pretty to me. Just putting a little bit of pink in there. And that way you don't have to have all of these colors. But it also, the other thing it does, it adds texture. So I don't know if you can see it. You have to kind of see it at an angle, but it just adds another layer of texture. Or you could draw with it, like you could draw some little pink straw pieces in there. But they're really good and portable. So instead of having to have jars or bottles of paint with these colors, you just have it in crayon form. It's called Neo Color 2. You have to be sure and get the 2. It's water soluble. The other, I think it's called Neo Color 1. It's not water soluble. So see, I can use this to add more little pieces of straw. I think they discontinued this color. I just ordered some more for our kits, and this is one of my favorites, and I think they discontinued that color. All right, so this jade is the one that I said is good for pops of color. So like, for instance, I could put a little bit there and a little bit here. Let me hold it up so you can see. See, I put a little bit of jade there, a little bit of jade there. And then I could tie it all of that together by putting a little bit up in here. And it just ties our piece together. And with the pops, the pop color, remember, just a little bit. That's all you need is a little bit. So I'm just going to put some there. And that just gives me some little pops of color that are not that noticeable, but they help draw your eye in to look closer. And I thought I had my white one over here, and that's what I was looking for, but I don't see it. So we were talking about white. This is a woody. It's very similar to the crayons, but it's got a fat little handle. It's more of the, I don't know, it just has the same texture as the crayon, but maybe just a smidgen creamier. I don't know. You could use this, Leslie, for the white, or you could use acrylic paint. But let me show you. See? Put it there. That helps there. And then I could put some like in his little cheeks up here. I've got some more work to do on his face, but that's how we could get some white on there. And this is called a woody. The company is by Stabilo, and they come in sets. That purple would be really pretty on that orange, wouldn't it? That would be very pretty. These things you could like pack up a little, almost a to-go set. I guess you could call it that, a little to-go set of some of these supplies that are, and like if you're watching the football game with your husband or something, just grab your bag of supplies and you could sit on the couch and paint and not even have a chance of making a big mess. I know that works because that's what I do. So I'm always got my supplies and sitting down painting or something. Yeah, I think you would like these woodies. And you can sharpen them. The advantage of these over the Neocolors is they're not going to break. You can break these. You can still use them if you break them, but there's more color options with the Neocolor. But these work well. They've got a silver. I don't remember. They've even got gold. That gold would look really good with the pumpkin too, wouldn't it? So this is why I love mixed media, because depending on your lifestyle, if you are having to create on the go, then there's so many options available. If you've got small children or you've got kids in sports and you are always carrying people around like a taxi or an Uber, fix up a to-go container of your supplies. And I would recommend using heavyweight paper. I would not use mixed media paper, even though we're doing mixed media. It's just not heavy enough. So get a pad of the watercolor paper and fix it up so that you can grab it and go. I see your question, Leanne. I think it was the because that was a beautiful, here it is. This is one of the Supra color. You would probably like malachite. That's also a watercolor paint. I think it's a Daniel Smith, has malachite. This is just a beautiful color. It's just beautiful. But this is, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. I think it's Karan D'Ash, I think maybe, is the company. Supra Color 2 is the pencil type. And because it's got that little brush right there, that means it's water soluble. It's a beautiful color. And it works well with this jade green. Okay, ladies, it is 1:05. I hope this has been a good lunch break for you. It has been for me. I'm just going to do a very quick recap. I would love for y'all to join us in the monthly painting group. This is what we're going to be doing. We're going to be painting stuff that you can use for gifts. You can use it for your home decor. You can just use it. You don't even have to use it. You can use the time painting for stress relief. If you've got a lot going on in your life, this kind of stuff is really good to help you get your mind off of it or to help you sort through it. Each one of these layers you could sort through. Like you get one layer done and it's like, okay, mind, you've got to get off of that. We got to move on to something else. I mean, there's so many ways you can use this. It could be something that you do while y'all are watching TV, but I want to encourage you to join us, okay? And join by tonight so that you can get this full lesson and we'll do it together. And you could do, if you've got grandkids, I'm going to challenge you to do this and paint one for each one of them. I want you to do it. That would be such a treat for them to see that you painted a scarecrow for them. All right. Thank y'all for being here. I hope that you have a fantastic weekend. And I hope that you are able to squeeze in some creativity in there. Yeah. Thank you, MK. I'm so glad you're here. I appreciate you being part of our family too, our creative family. We got some of our creative family here. Thank you. All right. Well, ladies, y'all have a good day. If you have questions, put them in the comments and I'll come back by and check on comments and see if I can help answer anything. And if you want to sign up, go to the website. It's going to be right there at you. Monthly painting group. I think it's got the Scarecrow lady on the front cover. All right. I'll talk to you later. Thank y'all.